Okay, so here's why I am generally not a fan of SEO. Um, Let me start by qualifying everything that is about to follow by saying that it is a strategy, it is something that can be used effectively, and I think having a basic knowledge of it is necessary for anybody who's doing any form of content marketing or even using Google PPC. Like, for example, if you are creating a Google PPC ad campaign, you have to have some understanding of like keywords and interspersing those keywords in whatever you're linking to, because that's what Google uses to assess the optimization score and also the relevance of whatever PPC ad that you're putting into place. So even if you like never want to do SEO and you just want to do paid traffic, you still got to know some SEO. So that's, you know, a thing. The reason why I don't like SEO in general is because, one, it's an invented thing. Like, people operate under the assumption that it's like this thing that exists out in the ether, that somehow it has some sort of objective, ness to it. But really, SEO was actually invented by a marketing agency, like for the same way that people have like invented the term conversion copywriting to distinguish themselves from like sales copywriting. SEO was invented in the mid '90s by a marketing agency to sell services to companies that, like, at this time when like search engines were just becoming a thing. And so SEO really is itself just a marketing gimmick. And so everything that we understand about best practices when it comes to SEO, they really just come down to like what has worked in the past and what is working now. But all of these like best practices are extrapolations from what people assume they think Google wants or Bing wants, because the algorithm itself for search and SERP, it's constantly changing. They're constantly, altering it, updating it, doing all sorts of stuff to it. And so, really, like, there is no such thing as an SEO best practice. Like, we kind of know like what works, but like what works now probably won't work a year from now. Like, if you go back to the early aughts, like, all you needed to do was just like write one page that repeated the same keyword over and over and over again, and you would get top ranking. It's more nuanced than that now, but like, shit's constantly fluctuating. Another reason why I don't like SEO is, it's very paint by the numbers. Like, all the best practices that exist now, or at least have for the last 10 years, are really grounded in like writing in a very ham-handed and inelegant manner to try to basically write for an algorithm as opposed for a human who's trying to learn something. And there are some consequences to that. For example, the best SEO pieces right now all tend to aggregate and basically pull from other existing SEO pieces. And so, in effect, you get this echo chamber situation where the best SEO pieces really, they are not establishing or generating any new knowledge. They're just like pulling from stuff and, pulling from content that already has some SEO juice behind it. Um, and the consequences for that is like, what happens if some of that becomes no longer true? Well, it's still going to rank very highly because that's what Google assumes the people want. Another thing that is problematic with that is, what if you have a contrarian perspective? What if we're like doing an SEO piece that's about something that like has qualitative components to it? One of the things that I often talk about is like, if you're writing content or writing copy, the best place to look is in books, because they've done deeper research than anything that you can possibly find on the internet. And so, one of the problems that you kind of run into is all the SEO content that's out there is really just populating the same shit. And so, if you're an SEO writer, like, okay, one, you're not going to get paid super great. Two, you're going to be expected to be a little content factory. Like, you just like, it's all about churn. How much can you get out? How much can you get out? Because that's the only effective way to do like a good SEO content strategy. Like, you're going to be writing in a very paint by numbers fashion, where it's like, okay, keyword, 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 and then you have to structure it according to H1, H2. You have to know the technical components of that too, and then structure it in a way that an algorithm can understand. And like, I've done it before, and it's a fucking drag. Like, who wants to do that? It sucks. And like, so there's a lack of fulfillment there, and then also, like, not only are you producing stuff that, like, doesn't isn't super engaging. It doesn't challenge you in any way to learn anything, because you're just pulling from stuff that already exists. And then it also doesn't deliver anything valuable that is unique. And if it's one thing that I've learned about copy and marketing over the course of my entire career, it's that the thing that sells best is always going to be the thing that can be articulated as unique. That this is the only place where you can get this kind of information. This is the only place where you can find this topic. And that's anathema to what SEO is trying to do, which is to effectively just cast the widest net possible. But the problem with casting the widest net possible is you get the least qualified people. So yeah, that's my opinion of SEO. I've joked about, like, how SEO is trash before on Copy That. We had a copywriting tier list where we jokingly said that SEO was the only S tier piece of copy because it has the S in it. And the reason why we did that is irony. And, like, again, like, I want to go back to the beginning. Like, SEO has its place, and some businesses really benefit from SEO. But right now, at this particular point in time, SEO does strike me and seems like a really ineffective, blunt tool for most companies, and a really crappy kind of copy to have to write. And I say that from experience. So anyway, those are my thoughts on SEO and why I generally am not a huge fan of that particular kind of copywriting. So there you go. And of course, I'm going to put this on Copy That. And, like, if you have any problems with anything that I said or any disagreements or whatever, put in the comments. I like the disagreements and the arguments. It just, it feeds the algorithm more. And of course, everything that I've been talking about is, like, designed to juice the algorithm. So, like, why wouldn't I want to do that on YouTube? Anyway, thank you. And that's it. You can go now. That's all. That's the end. That's the end of this